The course that's offered at OSH follows the OCR specification. So the first thing that we'd suggest that you do is go onto the OCR website, type in English language and literature, and look at the specific specification that's offered. It would be useful as well to print that off ready for September. There are 4 different components to the OCR course. The first is exploring non-fiction and spoken text, which is an hour exam and it's worth 16% of your overall A level. The second unit is the language of poetry and plays, and that's a 2-hour module. 2-hour exam, that's worth 32%. Reading as a writer and writing as a reader is a 2-hour open book exam, and that's worth 32%. And you do an NEA, that stands for non-exam assessment, and that's an independent study analysing and producing texts and producing something creative from that, and that's worth 20% of your overall A level. So that first module is the shortest of all the modules. It's a 1-hour exam, and it's about you investigating spoken and written texts which are pre-19th century and post-2000. So you'll have a look at a variety of different examples. You'll look at different kinds of rhetoric skills. I found in my own experience, those students that do English and classical civilization, after being a classics teacher, that the English students have a variety of different ways in which they can understand how rhetorical devices are employed by writers. So, for example, you'll be looking at things by Jamie Oliver, Dizzy Rascal, Russell Brand. You'll be looking at institutions as well, like the NSPCC. Component 2 is a 2-hour exam, and you have to study 2 different texts as part of this, and there's a few different options. The options that are chosen at OSH are Tennessee Williams' A Streetcar Named Desire and Carol Ann Duffy's Rapture. So for section A, you'll be looking at Carol Ann Duffy's collection of poems in Rapture and trying to do some stylistic analysis of those poems. Section B is the stylistic analysis of a play, and that specific one is Tennessee Williams' A Streetcar Named Desire. And with that, you'll be looking at the exploration of both different kinds of texts and looking at how you can analyse their style and the dramatic devices that they use. Component 3 is a 2-hour open book exam, and that's reading as a writer. That's what the course is called. That focuses on exploring the nature of narrative in one fictional text. Now, the text that's been chosen by OSH is Ian McEwan's Atonement, and you may have watched the film that stars James McAvoy and Keira Knightley. If you haven't watched it, that might be a good thing to watch, and actually, as summer preparation, it would be an excellent activity for you to read Atonement. Section B, which is writing as a reader, develops the understanding of narrative technique, and that's through a creative writing task that you set and a commentary from that. It's an open book exam, so you're able to bring in a copy of Atonement, and you're able to use that as part of your assessment. Unit 4 is your non-exam assessment, so you'll set that in at the end of year 12 going into year 13, and that's an independent study. So if you do history and geography as well, they are courses which have an NEA component. As part of that, you will write a comparative essay based on one prescribed text along with a text that you have selected. So if you look on the OCR specification page, you can have a look at some of those texts that you may wish to compare it with. One has to be non-fictional, one has to be fictional. So for example, a few students last year looked at Solomon Northup's 12 Years a Slave as their non-fiction text, and then compared that and contrasted that with a fictional study that's based on a similar sort of theme. What you also have to do as part of that is you have to produce a creative element where you extend your chosen theme and represent it through a non-fiction text. It can be quite creative in its format, and again, look on the OCR website for some forms of that. This is a creative subject, and you're given that license in component for the non-exam assessment.
So in English Learning and Lit, we do 4 main topics. So that is the language of poetry and plays. So we cover Carol Ann Duffy's Rapture, she might have done at GCSE. And we also do Ian McEwan's Atonement. There's A Streetcar Named Desire, which is a play by Tennessee Williams. And And we also do the language part of it, which is an anthology of speeches, of TV interviews, and then we analyse those like you would have done in GCSE 2.
Good.
So with OCR, and they put the writing as a reader and reading as a writer, so there's EMQ's atonement, and then we analyse that, which will take an hour. And then we do our own creative writing, and we write a commentary on it. So we say why we chose to use such devices to show off how much knowledge we know for the language side of the specification. And then we also do further exams and coursework, which involve you picking your own text, and then analysing it with a set text of OCR, and then that really allows you to just use your own knowledge of literature and incorporate it into the exam. So when you do coursework, you'll be given a coursework mentor, and it'll be any of the teachers from the English department, and they will work specifically with you in your frees, out of school, on Zoom meetings, whatever, just to help you directly with your coursework. And they're always just an email away as well if you need any more help. I've really enjoyed it. It was my favourite subject at GCSE, so I was always a bit apprehensive about what it would be like at A-level. But it's just so much fun. There's so much diversity within the text, so you can really explore what you find is interesting. And it's my favourite subject, definitely. It can be difficult. It's a massive step up, 100%.